This is Wrestling Reverb. And now your host, Josh Robinson.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Wrestling Reverb. I am Josh Robinson and another week of WWE programming is up. We've got Raw in the books, we've got Smackdown in the books. It's been quite I wouldn't say it's a big week of pro wrestling, but it's been a good week. Smackdown was awesome as always. Raw has had its moments, nothing too crazy, nothing too bad on Raw. So, first and foremost, just break down a few little things that happened this week. Lita and Mickie James got announced for the Evolution pay-per-view, and much like Trish Stratus versus Bliss, when I first saw it, I was like, why? I mean, I'm sure it'll be fine to, legends of women's wrestling. But then I kind of realized that Lita's quote-unquote retirement match was against Mickie James, and Mickie James beat her, so maybe it's kind of like a comeback, a bit of revenge kind of deal, whatever, but that should be fine. The Mae Young Classic, of course, bracketology was on last week, but the Mae Young Classic starts tomorrow. Very excited for that, as everyone knows, very hyped for the Mae Young Classic. And today it was announced that the Mixed Match Challenge is coming back on September 18th, immediately following Smackdown on Facebook Watch. I believe they said it's going to be live in other countries this time, not just the US. I think Australia is one of them, so that's nice. 10 teams, I think, got announced. 5 from Raw, 5 from Smackdown. Got some returning teams in there. I liked the Mixed Match Challenge when it was first on. I mean, it wasn't like groundbreaking or like anything crazy like that, but it was good. It was fun. It was something different that the WWE offered, which is nice. It wasn't just straight pure like let's have amazing matches. There was a bit of comedy involved. There was, it took the silly side of wrestling into it, and it was fun, and I liked it. So I'll definitely watch that on Facebook Watch or wherever I can watch it on the WWE Network or whatever it may be. But yeah, that'll be fun. Now, let's head into Monday Night Raw, and of course we kicked off Raw with Braun Strowman, Dolph Ziggler, and Drew McIntyre. Now, we've had a week for this to set in, that these three are a trio, that they're some kind of an alliance to take out the Shield, and last week I kind of stated that I'm not sure if it was a Braun heel turn or what it was, but I think it's pretty obvious that it was. I think that I think the idea is to kind of make Braun the monster and make him that bad guy kind of heel character. And I don't know if it's the right thing to do, but he got booed this week. I think if they're going to turn him against anyone, it's the Shield. The Shield collectively are very, very loved. So we'll see what happens. Of course, Roman Reigns defending the Universal Championship against Braun Strowman at Hell in a Cell. It's inside the cell. They always have good, top tier matches. I'm pretty sure that'll be the main event of Hell in a Cell. I'm excited for it for the most part. I just think we've kind of seen this stuff before. Yeah, granted, we've never seen it inside Hell in a Cell, but I just think we've seen it before, and I'm just kind of... It's just a little bit of a bummer that I think Roman's just going to win and move on. The only reason I say that is because, after Hell in a Cell, there's the Super Showdown, which they got announced for the Shield will take on Braun, Dolph, and Drew there. And then there's not another male pay-per-view, with males featured until Survivor Series at the end of November. So there's a lot of time to cover in between there, and I think Braun will run his course with Roman until maybe, mid to the end of October, and then we head into Survivor Series, where I'm assuming it'll be champion versus champion. So, it's December before you're looking at getting the Universal Championship on pay-per-view again. So, we'll see what happens, but whether they continue it going or, Roman moves on is another question, but I just think, the cash-in is what it was. I think both of the Money in the Bank cash-ins this year were kind of given to the wrong people. I don't think Braun necessarily needed the Money in the Bank contract. He could have got this opportunity, on his own. I think the Money in the Bank could have been held on someone, that needed it a little bit more. And then, talking Alexa Bliss winning it. I mean, yeah, she won it in the same night, but it was just kind of like, that girl just had the title, and it was just to get to Ronda, and yeah, it was the Money in the Banks this year. To me, were kind of a letdown. Just the winners, not the matches itself. So the 2 Money in the Bank ladder matches I thought were quite decent, but yeah, obviously that's in the past. It's months ago now, so no point in getting into that. But yeah, so the Shield end up coming out in this opening segment. There's a brawl. Members of the locker room come down to separate them, and it pretty much ends with Corbin getting the Shield arrested and taken into custody. I'll talk about more on that later. The first match of the night is the Bella Twins returning against Liv Morgan and Sarah Logan of the Riot Squad. Now, I said last week, and I did cop some flack for this on social media. I'm a Bella Twins fan, and I think they do add to the women's evolution or the women's division. They bring another fan appeal, maybe that most of us internet wrestling fans or just wrestling fans in general don't understand, but they bring in that other demographic, that other kind of thing, and they bring more eyes on the product, which is what WWE ultimately want. They want to grow this company bigger, bigger, and bigger, and bigger. So the Bellas do bring that other, demographic. They bring a more female-based demographic into the world of wrestling. With Evolution and that happening, it's just what WWE wants. So the Bellas, maybe this comeback isn't long-term. I think it's just short-term, but it is going to happen, and we knew it was going to happen. We knew they were going to be a part of Evolution, so I just think, it adds something else to the women's division on Raw and on SmackDown. So it's not just the same matches every week. There was a couple of real bad botched suicide dives from Brie Bella in there. The first one may have not been her fault. I think it was a timing issue with Sarah Logan. The second one, however, Brie barely jumped out of the ring. She's very lucky she didn't land directly on top of her head. Sarah and Ruby did everything they could to make that look as effective as possible, but it just was a mess. The crowd knew it was a mess. Everyone at home knew it was a mess. It was definitely the talk of Raw for quite a while online. Maybe Brie needs to realize that she hasn't been in the ring in so long. She's had a baby, and maybe, work your way up to those spots instead of just doing them and just going, yeah, I can still do this. Sometimes the game passes you faster than you're ready for it to pass you. Not saying that she's, in any way past her, peak or anything like that. She's still in great physical condition, but it's her first match back on television, and I just don't know if you should be doing that right now. But whatever. Props to her. People that are bashing her and like, oh, the Bellas can't wrestle. She hasn't been in the ring for a long time, and she can still wrestle circles around anybody that is saying that online. So, other than those two little things, great return for the Bellas. They didn't really skip too much of a beat, especially Nikki. So we move forward and with the Bellas. Another thing from that match is something that has kind of come left of field. Well, not left of field because I have seen it, gradually over a slow amount of time, but really lately I've really been taking note of it, is Liv Morgan's progression in the ring. In NXT, Liv didn't really do too much. She was there subparly. She was kind of just infrequently used. But Liv has come a long way in the ring. I think Liv has really outdone expectations as of late. She does little things that you don't really pick up on until you really hone down and actually pay attention to what she's doing. But Liv is actually getting quite decent in the ring. She's still green. She's still got a long way to go, but that girl can keep up with everyone. She's doing very, very well. I've always said out of the three in the Riot Squad that Ruby is the best overall. Sarah is very good in the ring, but she lacks a little bit, with her charisma character kind of deal. Liv has always been the character of the three. I think she's always been the best there, but in that area. But Liv's coming a long way in the ring, and I think with just honing down and more experience, this girl's only going to get better. And she's young, she is marketable, she could be a mainstay in the women's division. So one to keep an eye on. we had Chad Gable and Bobby Roode team together for the first time tonight, and Bobby did what he did, but Chad Gable is very, very, very good. They beat the Ascension. They look to be a kind of a team. They're a little, that cringy babyface kind of deal, but it was fun. It was only a little match. It really showed off Chad to me, though. Like, I think that really showed his skills and his kind of deal. I knew he was good, but I mean, he's really, really, really good in the ring. So I'll talk more about the tag teams later because I think there's something going on here. But Elias came out for another song. He was talking about how he was interrupted by Trish Stratus last week. And then they're in Columbus tonight, in Columbus, Ohio. So he was singing, standard Elias stuff. In comes the hometown hero to a massive reaction, Alexa Bliss. She does the O-H-I-O chant, the typical Ohio stuff, and then Vintage Bliss, she tears them right down, calls them all mindless zombies, and she ends up flirting with Elias a little bit, asking him to sing a song, and of course, before he can get going, Ronda Rousey's music hit, she comes down because we've got a match between Talia and Alexa Bliss. Short little match, nothing too notable out of it, but Bliss goes over with a very underwhelming armbar. There's a brawl, Alicia Fox gets involved. It's all the standard stuff. Ronda beats them up. Bliss gets a few shots in on Ronda, which is nice because after SummerSlam, there's no hype for me for this rematch. It's just let's get through it and build to whatever Ronda's doing at Evolution, which looks more and more every time. It looks to be Nikki Bella. And like I've said before, I have no problem with it. If that's the main event, that's the main event. More eyes on the product. But yeah, Bliss goes over. Renee Young, I have to say, is back on commentary this week. Coach is on assignment. I wish Coach was on assignment every week. I love Renee Young on commentary. I've stated how much I love Renee Young and how valuable I think she is to the company. She adds a different element to Raw. It makes it sound fresher. It makes it sound better. It gives it, a different perspective on Raw. Renee, to me, is one of us. She is very casual, calm, cool, collected. I really want her on commentary all the time. She's naturally, look, I wouldn't say naturally because her NXT stuff, as I've said before, wasn't incredible years and years ago, but she's come a long way just in general WWE mindset world. She has really gotten quite good at commentary. Granted, she's not the main, play-by-play or anything like that. She's just the extra color person. She pipes in when she needs to pipe in, doesn't overanalyze things, doesn't sound stupid. She just, says her bit and gets on to the next point. Argues with Graves a little bit, which is always nice. I think she's very good at this, and I think she should stay. Now, I said before about Chad Gable and Bobby Roode. Tonight seemed like I've stated that I'm not the biggest fan of tag wrestling many times. But the Raw tag team division in comparison to the SmackDown tag team division is horrid. That was until tonight. It seems like they're doing a little bit of a reset on the tag team division. Less of a joke, more of a seriousness to it. Of course, Revival was meant to go against the B team tonight. Drew and Dolph took the Revival out backstage, and the B team end up having to defend their titles against Drew and Dolph. Drew and Dolph go over, and we got new tag team champions. So we've actually got a serious, tag team at the head of this. And then you look forward to, Revival are going to be in there. They're a great team. The B team are a joke. I've said it many times. I don't like the B team. But them chasing the tag team gold or just being in the tag team division as not champions is much more underdog, much more we can get behind them than them being the tag team champions. AOP is someone I've talked about before, how, I think they're very, very good, but they just didn't have any steam behind them fighting Titus Worldwide and things like that. Well, this week they got a new manager. it was odd. Drake Maverick, the 205 Live general manager, is now the manager of AOP. They destroyed these two jobbers this week. Bit of a reset on them too. Just adds to the tag team division. It gives it that menace, that strength that the tag division needs. They're going to be unstoppable force. Drake Maverick, we'll see what happens with him. It's so odd that I think it works. But yeah, big reset on the tag team division. And I think that's what we need, because I've always said the SmackDown tag team division is so loaded and Raw's just wasn't. This could be the restart on it. I'm glad for it. There's a backstage segment with Nikki Bella and Ronda Rousey. And Brie. Natty was there also, but Natty left earlier in the segment. They offer to be Rousey's training partners or just tips for outside of the ring. Like it was announced last week, Rousey and the Bellas will take on the Riot Squad at Super Showdown in Melbourne. And I think that's the place I think the Bellas will turn on Rousey. I think they get the win. Nikki Bella turns on... the Bellas in general turn on Ronda Rousey, setting up Nikki versus Ronda for the Raw Women's Championship in the main event of Evolution. That's what I think is going to happen. It adds something to Super Showdown. It kind of states that this was an unmissable event. I think I think that's our big moment at the Super Showdown. That's my take on it. You heard it here first. Shawn Michaels, of course, returned talking about Super Showdown again with Triple H and The Undertaker. Last time ever. They're billing this as a big-time match. All the Hall of Famers and legends sending in their videos with their predictions. More people picking The Undertaker than Triple H. Shawn Michaels thinks that Triple H has The Undertaker's, this is not the same Undertaker that it was before the streak, and that he thinks Triple H is going to win. Of course, surprise, surprise, here comes The Undertaker. This segment in general was just incredible. I loved it. These two are the two greatest of all time. And it's so captivating when they're in the ring together. It's just like, you can watch this, and watching it, forgot about everything else that's kind of going on around me, and it's just whatever those two are saying, I'm just captivated and I'm just involved. And they kind of showed everyone how you do it, and every word I was hanging on. And what is this leading to? I don't know. It kind of almost seems like maybe a Super Showdown, it's not going to be Triple H and The Undertaker. Maybe it's going to be a triple threat match. Triple H, Undertaker, Shawn Michaels. If Shawn's going to come out of retirement for anything, I don't think it'll be anything but The Undertaker involved in some kind of way. I don't think Shawn refs this match. I think we have something else. I think maybe Shawn's got one match left in him. He looks in incredible shape. He's talked about it. They're really owning in on it on television. I just think this might be the time that Shawn comes out. If Shawn's going to come out of retirement, this is the time to do it. I don't know, but it was an incredible segment. They just had us hooked on every single word. Next, we've got Dana Brooke and Ember Moon versus The Boss and Hug Connection, Sasha Banks and Bailey. First things first, I want to talk about Ember Moon. Ember Moon's call-up happened the night after WrestleMania. She had a little bit of steam coming in off her NXT Women's Championship run, and she hasn't done a hell of a lot since. She was in the Money in the Bank ladder match. I don't think she's worked another pay-per-view besides that. I could really honestly be wrong, but she hasn't done a lot. She's here and there with random six-person tags. She's sometimes a fill-in for other little things. Ember Moon, I don't doubt her in-ring ability. I don't think she's the best talker. I don't think she has the best character. I just think that there needs to be something done with Ember. And I think to a certain degree, Ember is just a finisher. It's just the Eclipse. That's all she really has that's really amazing about Ember Moon. I don't hate Ember, and I'm not trying to shit all over Ember, but I just think for certain times she's got called up and there was not really that much of a plan. That happens a lot of times, and it sucks to see happen, but her time was up in NXT. It was time to move on, but there was nothing for her here. We'll see what happens with her, but yeah. Now into the tag match, Dana Brooke. Last week I talked about her progression, how she kind of really really did a wonderful job last week in the ring with Sasha Banks. Sasha went over with a awkward roll-up, and that was kind of that over Dana. Dana says that Titus Worldwide, she's through with Titus Worldwide, and that's that. I don't know where it leads to. I don't know if this ends up being the end of Titus Worldwide altogether, but Dana's looking to leave Titus Worldwide. We go into the Bobby Lashley segment, and it's with Jinder Mahal and Shanti. Jinder is one that I like this gimmick, but 1 year ago he was the WWE champion. Now he's meditating with Bobby Lashley in the center of the ring. It's a bit of a fall from grace, but what are you going to do? That's WWE for you. Bobby Lashley, I talked about last week how they're kind of just stalling with him. Kevin Owens come back this week, which is another thing that I'm really not going to go on for too long because I think it's a huge wasted opportunity for him to just come back. And that's that. He quit, come back, beat up Bobby Lashley. Yep. Mick Foley is coming back to Raw next week to talk about Hell in a Cell. Triple H will also be on Raw next week to talk about Super Showdown. Ronda Rousey and Natalia will take on Alexa Bliss and Alicia Fox in the main event. The main event this week, though, was Finn Balor versus Braun Strowman. It was a standard main event of Raw. Braun went over, and in comes the Shield. Raw locker room come out. There's a big, huge brawl. Seth gets thrown into the ambulance, and all this kind of stuff goes on. They beat the crap out of the Shield, and it just they're trying to have that 3-man duo that can stand up to the Shield. And I mean, I guess this is the 3 men to do it. But yeah, it was the Raw was fine. There was a few things that really irritated me, a few things I took away from it, but Raw was fun this week. We've got another week before Hell in a Cell. And then there's 2 weeks to Super Showdown. And I think 3 weeks after that, it's Evolution. So there's a lot of television and pay-per-views they're building to at one time. It's kind of confusing. But I think once we get Hell in a Cell out of the way, we can then focus on Super Showdown and then focus on Evolution. Moving on to Smackdown, we had Renee Young open up Smackdown to introduce Brie Bella and Daniel Bryan. They talk about Miz and Maurice. There was a promo before where Miz and Maurice called out Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella. They didn't come out because it was before the arena opened and stuff like that. And then Brie and Bryan called Miz and Maurice cowards, but they were at a they come on the screen, they're at a restaurant. It's all just typical Miz Bryan stuff. It was fine. The segment was fun. Andrade seeing Almas and Selena Vega come out, and we've got Bryan versus Almas in a rematch from last week, which I absolutely loved their match last week. This match was no different. Bryan goes over. Brie ends up beating up Zelina. It was fun. We had a Becky Lynch and Charlotte exclusive interview. They were in 2 separate rooms. Good stuff as always from these girls. This is the most hyped I'm for any feud right now, and that's saying something with the level of stuff that's on SmackDown. But yeah, Becky Lynch and Charlotte is official for Hell in a Cell. At this point, it's just a regular match. I think it will stay a regular match. I don't think we're getting a cell. I think we get something with them two at Evolution, to be honest. But it was a good segment. I'm excited. I mean, fingers still crossed that Becky Lynch wins at Hell in a Cell, to be honest. But I just don't think it's going to happen yet. It will happen, though. Becky's on fire. She's got a lot of momentum. So that was fun. The Iconics and Naomi, they've been feuding for weeks. Peyton Royce is fighting Naomi this week. I do love the Iconics. I am biased. I don't care. Naomi goes over with a roll-up. The Iconics beat up Naomi, and Asuka returns to SmackDown, someone we haven't seen in, quite some time. She comes out, helps Naomi, beats up the Iconics. It actually led to a match announced for Super Showdown. It's going to be the Iconics, the Homeland Girls, versus Asuka and Naomi. I think the Iconics will be incredibly over women come Super Showdown, so this will be fun. I'm going to be very pro-Iconic, as I think 80,000 strong will be in Melbourne. So watch out, Asuka and Naomi, because I think the Iconics are going to be very well loved. But yeah, that was fun. Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton will be inside the cell in 2 weeks. I'm praying to God that Jeff Hardy does not do anything that is going to kill him. We know Jeff. We know how he is. He doesn't need to be doing this stuff at 41 years old. But Jeff Hardy is going to do what Jeff Hardy wants to do. I think this could probably be the match of the night. I'm very excited for this. I love Jeff Hardy. Randy Orton's heel run has been incredible. This is going to be fun. We go backstage to R-Truth, who is the man of SmackDown. It seems this episode. R-Truth looking to find Carmella. He finds a nice blonde woman, starts yelling at her, and it's Maurice, but he thinks it's Carmella. Miz comes in. Miz goes on about how they were the awesome truth back in the day, and it looks like we're setting up to Miz versus R-Truth in the main event of SmackDown. I repeat, Miz and R-Truth in the main event of SmackDown, and I'm all for it. We go to Samoa Joe comes out. He was going to, all the stuff that's going on with his family. It ends up AJ Styles comes out. There's a big brawl. Referees come down to break it up. Paige actually comes down to break it up. And it kind of leads me into what I'm saying about Paige is that I honestly think Paige is... I talked about this last week, how I think there was, with an exception of a few, I think Paige is the best GM. I actually think Paige is the greatest GM this company's ever seen. Let me explain why. GMs in the past are in that role for many reasons. Whether they're kind of winding down in their in-ring careers, they're coming back after retirement. Paige is in a spot where she knows wrestling is not an option. She wants to be a part of this business, so she wants to make whatever she's doing the best thing that she can possibly do. And she cares about making her GM run, because as you know, GM runs are never huge. They're never long, with the exception of maybe Eric Bischoff or Teddy Long. But for the most part, GM runs are, a year or 2, year and a half, 2 years, something like that. Paige is trying to own as much as she can and make her time the best. I think she's an absolutely incredible GM. She does things... There's a different feel with Paige. I don't know if it's SmackDown or if it's whatever, but she's very, very good. We go... Another thing about Paige is that I love is the relationship that Miz has with her. Miz is always... There's something about Miz and GMs that just don't mix. And it's just something that I just quickly noted. I wrote it down and I was like, I like that. Keep it going. SmackDown, as I've stated, as a lot of people have stated, is just so good at the moment. It's in a spot where there's so many great feuds. It's arguably, everyone's going to argue on what is the best at the moment, but that's so good. You've got Miz and Bryan. You've got Jeff Hardy and Randy Orton. You've got Samoa Joe and AJ Styles. You've got Becky Lynch and Charlotte Flair. And any of those feuds could be your favorite, and you could argue that they're the best right now. So anything can main event. Anything can... It's just really, really good. There's another video package with Randy Orton and Jeff Hardy for Hell in a Cell. This time it's on Randy. The first one was on Jeff. WWE produced really good video packages. I know that's no shock, but it's just they're very good and they get you hype, and it's just another way of promoting a match. I talked about, how Raw's tag team division is on a bit of a reset because SmackDown Live's tag team division is so good. There are 7 teams on SmackDown Live that are all, on relatively the same level. Sanity, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows, Rusev Day, the Usos, the New Day, the Bar, Epico and Primo. They were just really good. They're all really good. Any of them can go for the tag team titles, and any of those even if you include the Bludgeon Brothers, I know Eric Rowan's out at the moment, but they're just all really good teams. Any of them can have matches with any of them, and we're in for something good, which is, what we want. We just want good wrestling. Next week, of course, it's the Rusev Day went over in this triple threat with the Usos and Sanity. It's going to be Rusev Day versus the Bar at next week on SmackDown. The winner of that faces the New Day at Hell in a Cell. Now, it was already announced for Super Showdown that the Bar and the New Day are going to go at it for the SmackDown tag titles. So, I don't know whether that spoils Hell in a Cell or not, but that is what it is. I thought the Bar would probably beat Rusev Day next week anyway, but yeah, it is. The Bar and the New Day have had many incredible matches in the past, but Rusev Day would have been fun to mix it up with the New Day, so but that'll be fun. We'll go on to the main event. It's R-Truth and The Miz. Carmella is with R-Truth because he had another backstage segment. It'll be on WWE's YouTube. If not, you'll find it on YouTube. You'll find it somewhere. There's a heap of R-Truth backstage segments where he's talking to Carmella and he thinks Maurice is coming. It's just fun. Just watch it. But Miz and R-Truth are in the main event. A lot of spots where R-Truth nearly wins. Miz is kind of beating him up for the most part of the match. Miz is looking to set up the skull-crushing finale. Daniel Bryan and Brie Bella come out for the distraction. And in the main event, R-Truth, via a roll-up, has beaten The Miz. Cool moment. R-Truth goes over. There's Brie and Bryan come down to beat up The Miz and Maurice, but then Almas and Vega come out, but then it ends up turning around, backfiring on them. In sync, yes locks for the end of SmackDown Live, and Miz and Maurice are scared of Bryan and Brie. I'm excited for that match at Hell in a Cell. It was another great episode of SmackDown Live. SmackDown Live is unmissable every week. I absolutely love it. I love, bits of Raw. I loved all of SmackDown. I'm very excited for everything. Hell in a Cell's it's going to be good. It's very, it's stacked with very good top matches. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm excited for Super Showdown. Evolution is getting in all close. This is a good time to be a wrestling fan. Mae Young Classic is on tomorrow, which I'm very excited for. I don't know anything that happens, which is what I'm loving. I'm stayed spoiler free. I'm excited for Tony Storm and Caitlyn, Io Shirai. I'm excited for them. I'm excited for so many. Also, I just want to note that I did watch All In. I enjoyed it. I thought it was fun. Chris Jericho is my favorite of all time. That was cool to see him. There were some great matches, it felt different. I think it did, to a certain degree, change the way we think about independent wrestling, which is good because we always want more alternatives and more competition. And it was a fun show. I really did enjoy it. I hope they do more. But that'll do me for this episode of Wrestling Reverb. See you guys next time. Bye.
This is Wrestling Reverb.